just recorded a previous video talking about what happened to my hand. Long story short, wrote notes for too long. Really hurt my hand, fingers and wrist and arm. Had it in a cast. Took the cast off, did more notes, had to put the cast back on. And now she's okay. I was supposed to go for physio actually, but yeah, medical aid would not approve. I'm gonna do my best not to cry. It was a lot, so I'm not sure how long this video is gonna be, but if this video is gonna be a bit too long, I'm probably gonna split it into 2 parts because so much happened. But let's get you started with what happened before hospital. So, the Wednesday. I actually have written the entirety of everything that happened. If you want to watch this video and check it on, like hear from me myself, you can. I'm gonna link it in the description, but it's on Wattpad. Wattpad's free, by the way, guys. This is not an ad. So if you want to check out like the full story of what happened, you can go check that out. So the Wednesday evening, I had been feeling I had it's like some heartburn. My stomach was like bubbling, it was burning, and that had already told me that the acidity in my stomach was high. But I'd experienced heartburn before. I mean, I've experienced heartburn to the point where you can feel it in your mouth and you taste blood in your mouth with how bad the heartburn can be. Something just told me to ignore it. I don't know. So I was drinking water, keeping myself hydrated, didn't think that it would lead to anything else. Then the Thursday, after having the biggest panic of my life, because that day we were supposed to do our anthropology exam. It was supposed to come out. It's normally open for a few days before you can submit, luckily. But it was supposed to come out on that day. And usually what happens is you receive an email from the university which tells you qualify to write the exam based on your average for the term. And none of us had received those emails, so we had been panicking because no one received the email. So we thought, okay, maybe we don't qualify. Do we qualify? And where's the damn question? Because it wasn't on the website. So everyone was panicking. We were phoning at all the people we could. We were trying to contact this one, trying to contact that one, emailing all our lecturers. No one was getting back to us. And then this one says email that one, but that one doesn't have an email address. It was nuts. This after being in stress days before, because 3 days up to the Monday I had been busy reading one of the novels for my English module, and that was about 484 pages if I'm not mistaken, and I had completed reading that probably about something to 12 that morning, and the paper came available at 12, and by 3 o'clock I had finished that paper. Yeah, that was all before what happened this Thursday. So it could be understandable why I was having the heartburn and all that the Wednesday, because I just assumed, okay, I was probably just that stressed the last few days. But because of the stress on this Thursday, trying to find some way to get this damn question, the stress really impacted my body, it impacted my stomach, and all hell went loose. I remember I had something normal for breakfast. I had not eaten lunch. I had been so focused on trying to find this question, trying to speak to whoever we could so that we could find it, that I had forgotten to eat. So by the time I had eaten lunch, which was about 1 p.m. after having breakfast at like 7, to some people, my nose is itching, to some people it's probably like, oh, so you ate breakfast at 7, so by 1 p.m. like that's lunchtime, that's fine. For me, my stomach acid was so high, it needed something to break it down because it was already burning morning and bubbling by the time I had my lunch. But of course I had first waited it out. So by 12 o'clock I had been waiting it out because I specifically make sure that I don't eat when my stomach is acting up, because then I know it's not going to stay down. Which I should have eaten anyway after what happened. An hour after that, stomach calmed down. I had had my lunch. I had something small because I wasn't feeling for any big meals or anything like that. And I just remember I started having a lot of pain. My body was getting hot, it was getting cold, it was getting hot. And usually if your body's getting cold, what do people say? Well, dress warm. That was a problem because I would be getting cold, and it becomes a cycle. Your body gets cold, you start freezing, you start shivering, you put on something warm. That something warm basically makes your body so warm you start sweating. Now you have to get rid of the sweat because your whole back is soaking freaking wet. So now you have to take that off, you have to dry yourself off, because if you also leave the back wet, it just has to touch an inkling of cold breeze and then your body's cold again. And it's the same cycle. Your body gets cold, you try to warm it up, you start sweating, your body gets cold again, you have to get warm. That was happening. I had difficulty breathing properly, and all these things, even though they sound crazy, it was something that I found normal, because that normally happens when I'm having a spasmic episode. Due to I have probably, 2 or 3 health videos now explaining what goes on with my health and all the nonsense that we've been dealing with. But like I said, I'm gonna link in the description the book I've been writing. I call it Misdiagnosed. It's got all the lovely stories of what I've been experiencing over the last 5 years with all kinds of doctors, I've seen
surgeons, gastroenterologists, physicians, dietitians. I've had gastroscopies, colonoscopies, abdominal scans, abdominal ultrasounds. Now I've had CT scan, I've had MRI.
I have had the lot. And they still couldn't find what was going on. So this is now still before what happened in hospital. I remember all the symptoms that was happening. So I was first trying to just keep my body temperature normal, trying to stay calm, trying to get my breathing to calm down, and the pain was just getting worse and worse and worse. And the moment that I started to salivate, that's when I knew. Normally what happens before a person throws up, or actually before I throw up, I notice immediately. First, it's I get hot and cold, and second, if my mouth starts salivating, then I know I need to go to the bathroom. So I ran to the bathroom, I threw up. I was practically throwing up my dinner of the previous night and the food of that day. Then I thought, okay, I'm done, I got it out, but I was still in a lot of pain, which made me kind of feel a little bit depressed, because then I realized if I'm still in pain after throwing up, that means I'm not done. That means I'm gonna have to come back here. And I was not looking forward to it. And then I felt my mouth salivating, and I ran back again and threw up again. So I thought, okay, now it's done. Like, everything is out. You know, when you get to that point where you actually it's just stomach acid coming out. So I thought, okay, I'm done. That's it. I was still in a lot of pain. This had now been continuing from about something past 1, and at the time we are at now, it's probably around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock when my mom gets home. So she came home into this mess. What we usually used to do after I would have thrown up, we would drink hot water with lemon, honey, and ginger. So I tried drinking that. Didn't want to stay down, went to throw up for a 3rd time. We tried some sort of drops that she put in that's supposed to help with stomach pain and whatnot. I drank that, took a sip of Energy, didn't want to stay down, threw up a 4th time. She gave me some Rehydrate, which is actually what people drink after throwing up to put the electrolytes back into the body. Yeah, didn't stay down, threw up a 5th time. And as this was going on, I think by that time it was already about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. the evening. So this was going on for a while. And I just remember both my mother and I, we didn't know what to do. We had exhausted all our options. I took my BP, blood pressure was seemingly normal, but my heart rate was high. So after throwing up the 5th time and nothing is staying down, not even liquids, we decided, okay, you know what, we're gonna go to the emergency room, see if they can help us. I'm smiling, because if I don't smile, I'm gonna swear. We go to the emergency room. Clearly I'm in pain. I was wearing so many freaking layers because I was just freezing. Like my body was shaking. I was so damn cold. I had my thick pajamas on. I had a gown over that, and I still had another blanket over me. I probably looked like I was living in an igloo or something. I don't know. I couldn't even speak. I was in that much pain. So my mother goes up to the desk, we speak to the lady. The lady says, well, we have a new thing in place that you have to pay 2,000 Rand up front if you want to be helped in the trauma unit. 1,000 Rand goes to the doctor and the other 1,000 Rand goes to the hospital. And this is before you are seen by the doctor. So you're telling me that I have to pay you even if the patient is dying, even if the patient is bleeding out. You first have to pay 2,000 Rand, and if you don't pay that 2,000 Rand, they don't help you. Because even though you're paying that 2,000 Rand, once you go in and they do whatever tests they're gonna do, whatever blood they're gonna draw, whatever, anything they're gonna do, that's gonna be a couple more thousands. So even though they might max out your money once you go in, they already want to get access to it before you go in. Let that sink in. And because of all of this nonsense, they said to us, you know, but if you don't pay it and if your medical aid has no funds, then you must go to Delft Hospital. Clearly we were not going to drive that far. Anyways, so we got in the car and my mother had remembered something about a healing herb that one of her friends has. It's called Villa Als or something. I don't know what the actual, I know that sounds like what she said it was. I'd never heard of it in my life. So what it actually is like, it's supposedly a healing herb that I can't say in the olden days, this was like how many decades ago, that parents used to use where they wrap it in a cloth and they keep it warm on your stomach, and that used to help with stomach pain. We got that, we put that around me, kept my body warm, kept my body elevated because I can't lay down when the spasmic episode's happening or I will scream bloody murder. I said to my mother, as long as we can get something on me to keep me warm and that this thing now works its way through, if I can just take a sleeping tablet, that's the only way I'm gonna go to sleep. Because I could feel my body was in so much pain and it was so uncomfortable and I was so cold. There was no way I was going to fall asleep that night. The plan worked. I'm just processing. Even saying the plan worked, we thought the plan worked. Because then the Friday morning, we had now told the doctor everything that happened. She had recommended that I not eat much. Oh, to make matters even worse, I forgot to mention that same Thursday, after throwing up maybe 2 or 3 times, once my mother got home, we had to still go get something at one of the malls. Best believe, on the way to the mall, what was I eating? Spicy Indomie noodles. I was eating 2 packs of it. So you can imagine the amount of chili oil that was bubbling along with my stomach acid. Not exactly the wisest idea I've ever had in my life. I was throwing up chili oil, which was lovely. I would rather have thrown up chemicals that comes out after you've now swallowed painkillers and then you throw it up. I would rather have had that chemical burn than the chili oil burn, because that hurt. So the Friday, we took it easy. I didn't really eat much. Was just trying to get liquids in my body, but then again I was also scared to get liquids in my body. So during that day I was drinking Energade to get the electrolytes into my body. But even though I wasn't eating, then the pain started again. So we figured out, okay, so you don't even have to eat for this shit to like
burn and pain and twist, and it's like freaking stabbing you.
This might be a little crap, but it felt like someone was like
Tearing open your front, ripping out your organs, doing this with it, twisting it around, taking at the knife, stab, putting it all back in, closing, stitching it closed, and then repeating the process.
yeah, that's not fun to go through for more than 2 days. We did what we could. We used the Villa Else. We even tried putting me in a hot bath with Epsom salts, which we soon found out was a bad idea because I could have been having a fever, because we had not known that sometimes fevers does not necessarily mean hot. Sometimes fevers can also be cold, like cold sweats. I had not known this, neither had my mother. So putting me in the hot water had actually made things worse, because even though I felt somewhat relief, not even a lot, but I did feel relief in the hot bath. Like I was so hot, I make sure to take a hot bath. I want to be warm. So I took the bath, laid there for as long as I could. I don't even enjoy baths anymore. I just feel like it's a waste of my time. Another perfectionist problem. Me laying in the bath doing nothing drives me nuts, because it's like I could have been doing A, I could have been doing B, I could have been doing all these things. Meanwhile, it's like God is telling me the entire time,
bitch, you gotta relax.
but I'm like, I can take like a 5-minute break, and God's like, no. But I'm like, 5 minutes, 10-minute max. Yeah, God was not having it. Because then after the bath, I dried off, got undressed, my mother went to wash, and I started freezing again. And I looked fine because my cheeks were blood red, because my face was still warm, but my body was freaking freezing. And my mother couldn't understand that I was saying it was freezing until she felt the back of my neck, and she could feel, oh, you feel like you just were laying in ice. I was that cold. I just remember it's that feeling. I would not have wished those few days on my worst enemy. We just kept my body at a good temperature. I threw up again, even though there was nothing in my body. And I remember because that night was my mother's bachelorette party, so I was alone at home. Not the entire day though, probably from the evening side. So she was at her bachelorette. And I didn't want to worry her, so I was trying to sort things out on my end. I was trying to keep me elevated, trying to keep my mind distracted, trying to keep my body at normal temperature. That was also that was the same day that the Springboks were playing. They were playing rugby in their final match. I couldn't even watch the match because it was like I was nursing a freaking toddler. I had no breaks. And ironically, as soon as the game ended, I had to go throw up. Even though I couldn't watch the game, I kept the live score pinned on my phone, so I could see, okay, there was a goal, there was this. And yeah, you must say, no, it's not a goal, it's a try. I don't care. I was watching and I saw, okay, pointed up, blah, 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 blah. So as soon as the game was finished, I started salivating. And I was confused as hell, because by that point, I had not eaten anything that entire day. Nothing. Not even a porridge. I'd eaten nothing because I was in so much pain. I had no appetite. And it was burning so much, I didn't want to touch anything, not even water. But I'd been sipping on my energy throughout the day. So I went to the bathroom, threw up my guts. Felt like I was throwing up my guts. Might be a bit TMI, so you can skip a few seconds. But it was like a gray color. A gray and green color. Which we later then found out was bile. Which is basically, once the entire stomach is empty and you are now throwing up stomach acid, once you've been throwing up stomach acid and there's still absolutely nothing in the stomach, in the gut, in anything, the bile from the gut starts to come up, darling. So I'm sure you can imagine at this point I was ready to beat someone's ass. It's like, can I blame somebody for causing it? But I couldn't, because it was happening in my body. So
The only person I could beat up was myself, but it wouldn't have made any sense, because that's kind of masochistic, and I was already in pain. So if I beat, that's like beating a dead horse. It's like kind of like stop.
So anyways, then the Saturday, we went in for a checkup with our general practitioner. She's the absolute best. You guys should go check her out. She is Dr. Suleiman. I will probably put here at the bottom how to spell it, because normally people say Solomon because it's spelled almost like Sullivan, but it's actually Suleiman. But I had not known this until she had explained it to me, so don't worry if you also thought it the other way. People tend to get it wrong. Same thing with my surname. My surname and my name, people have said it wrong my entire life. I've heard Carlin, Caroline, I've heard everything for my surname. I've heard Esbach, Esbach, I've heard all of it. So that's why when people try to make fun of my name, I'm like, explaining it to what happened. She was doing an exam, they checked my urine, they said it's fine. Because I had a lot of tenderness by my kidneys, I had a lot of tenderness by my bladder, so she was worried it could be a bladder infection, but that wasn't detected in any of the tests. I was tender all over my bloody abdomen, like this whole thing was tender, like poke it. I wanted to scream. Well, so she did that, and she gave me an injection for nausea so that I wouldn't be nauseous. They gave me Piplock, because Piplock is a pantoprazole which is supposed to control the acidity levels in the stomach, which is something I used to use about a year ago with my former GP. I was using it for probably about 8 months because that was controlling the acid levels in my stomach. But the acidity in my body was so high that even though I had taken it, I had taken 3. You're supposed to take at least 1 before a meal. I took 2 the first time because I just thought, oh, yell, it brandt so. So I took 2 before even eating. I just took it so it could get into my body, like get in there, bro, do something. And then I was so disappointed. My mother had made such a nice stew. It smelled so amazing. And I dished for myself. And I had taken a Piplock before. I took 2 freaking forkfuls. And the pain started again. I just, the way I'm sighing now, that's like, ugh, this again. That's how it felt. Every time it happened, it was like, so, you're here again. No one asked you to be here, but you're here. Great. Anyways, so the pain started again, and the whole bloody kerfuffle. The body was going hot, body was going cold. Mind feeling disoriented because you're like, where am I? What? Where's left? Where's right? Your breathing is a whole problem. Your back is aching, and oh my gosh, the back pain. The back pain increases the stomach pain. Oh, it was it felt like I was laying on a batch of razor blades. And picture a mat with razor blades all on it, and someone going towards your back and doing this constantly. It was awful, and that was now happening with the stomach pain, with the
bubbling, the burning, the stabbing, the twisting, the feeling like your guts being taken out, ripped apart, put back in.
that, and all the struggling to breathe, the heart going extremely fast. It was a lot. So the GP had decided she was going to admit me into hospital that Sunday. And boy, the things that happened in that hospital, I will explain it in the next video. Otherwise, I think this episode, why do I keep saying episode? It's like I've been watching too much series since I've been doing nothing. So I keep saying episode, but it's such an episode, it probably should be a series because this was nuts. But I will include a part 2 where I explain what happened in the hospital, because that's where the crazy got even crazier. So prepare yourself.